everyone, welcome back to the Chapple Show, and today we're talking about the highest paying jobs where you don't need a degree. Let's get started. So I was going through a list of the top 400 highest paying jobs in America, and I was marking off the ones that didn't require at least a 4-year bachelor's degree. And so those jobs which didn't require a degree, I separated them into ones that are a salaried job, ones that, are variable and sometimes require some education, sometimes they require a degree, sometimes not. I didn't know where they fit. And then I have the self-employment ones over here. First, we're going to tackle the highest paying salaried jobs. Now, saying that, most of these, if not all of these, require some sort of training. Some require a couple years of training. I know the first one I'm going to mention requires years, and some of these only require, a week or 2 weeks or a month or so. We're going to get started here. What do you guys think is the highest paying salaried job which doesn't require a degree? I was surprised by this one, actually. Oh, whoops. This is a commercial pilot. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this. You don't need to get an undergrad to become a pilot. I mean, you just kind of sign up, you pass the course, and then you get hired, right, by an airline. So commercial pilot, anyone know what their estimated salary is? Take a guess. It's about $130K. That is by far the number one job you can get without a bachelor's degree. That's a salaried job, at least. Now we're going to move on to elevator. Oh yeah, that's right. Second one is, I'm going to try and blow through these because there's a lot. I'm just going to go rattle them off. So number 2 is an elevator install or repair person. So now saying that there's only a limited amount of these jobs compared to like a pilot. So I think that there's actually only like 12,000 to 80,000 jobs available for that in the United States. But so those guys make $77K, and they're number 2. Number 3, we're moving on to something that I think should require some sort of education but doesn't, is a nuclear reactor operator. Oh boy, this does require a lot of on-the-job training. But saying that, I'm just surprised you don't need to go to school to handle a nuclear reactor. And then we got number 4, we got a detective. Oh, I guess I should say the salaries here. So for the nuclear reactor, it's $74K. We have a detective here, which I think you need to go to an academy for. It's $71K, but you don't need to get an undergrad. And then we got a retail supervisor. I think that they make about $71K as well. Yes, they do. $71K. Now we're moving down the list here. Hopefully, I don't know if this will all fit on camera. I'm just going to try and blow through these. We have mechanic supervisor, and they make roughly $61K. We're going to move down here. We got a postal service carrier, so I just say carrier. I was actually surprised about this one too. A postal service carrier makes $57K. On average in the United States, $57K. And I heard that you get more the longer you work with the company. And then we got an electrician at $56K. And then we got a police officer, PO, and they make on average $55K. And again, the longer you work there, as most government jobs, the more you get paid. PO, so then we got plumber, $50K. Only one more. And then we got truck driver. Truck drivers make what? It's $42,000. And it's also one of those jobs where the longer you work, you can get paid more. So if you're a truck driver for 30 years, you can make actually $100,000, which is quite surprising. So these are the top jobs, salary jobs, which you can get without any sort of university or college degree. And saying that the most widely available job here is the truck driver here at the bottom. There's millions of those jobs in the United States. Saying that they're being shifted over to more automation as we go along. I'm sure that Tesla and Google are going to dominate that industry, the automated cars, automated shipping. So truck driver is not a good job for the future, but if you need a job in the next 5 or so years, you can become one, and it's fairly easy. You don't need a degree. But saying that, if any of these interest you, you can get into those without needing any sort of degree. So we're going to move on to variable here. And so I didn't really know where to put these because a lot of these ones in here in the variable category, it's preferred that you have a degree, but you don't need one if you know what you're doing. So the very top one is, it's actually, people are going to get mad at me, like, of course you need a degree for that, but not really. It's a chief executive. So this is, it's, you know, you're a CEO, essentially. Now, yeah, people think that you need a degree to become a CEO, and I think that if you're at a company long enough and you prove your worth and you're good at sales and you're good at management and you're good at leading a company, you can work your way up and become a CEO. I mean, my dad was on that track before he got sick. He started out as a sales guy and worked his way up to vice president, and he was on his way to becoming CEO before he got sick. So that's something that you can become. It just takes a lot more time. You won't get it right away. So that's a variable one. Now, saying that, a lot of companies, if you want to become a chief executive, a lot of the times, if you just want to jump right into a CEO role, you do have to go to some sort of, you have to get your MBA or something like that. But you can work your way up without a degree. If we're going to move on here, we're going to move on to, oh yeah, financial manager. So this is just kind of standard. You're managing money. You do need to go to get some sort of training for this. It depends on what country you're in. I think in the United States it takes about 6 months if you become like a fiduciary or whatever the term is in the United States. So we're going to move on to, they get paid about $135K on average per year. Sales manager. See, a lot of these are in sales, by the way. But you just need to work your way up through the company. You still don't need a degree though. Like you can't become a doctor if you don't have a degree, but you can become a sales manager if you don't have a degree. So they make about 130K, sorry, 130K. 130K. So next is a software developer. On average, they make about 80K per year. And so if you're working for a company, you want to apply to become a software developer for a company, you might need a degree in some sort of software developing. But a lot of the times, if you have a good portfolio and you've developed software yourself and you just show the company what you can do, you can get hired without a degree if you're self-taught. So that's something that you might need an education for, but you can also self-teach yourself and be fine. Another one here is actually stockbroker. This is variable too because banks generally like to see banks and other companies that run any sort of stock trading program, they like to see that you have some sort of business degree, but you don't really need one. You do have to get your stockbroker's license though, and then you can go to the banks and you can go to investment funds and whatever. But yeah, you don't need a degree to become a stockbroker. So those are variable ones that kind of might need some education. It depends on the scenario. Here we have like for sure you don't need any education. Now we're going to move on to the self-employment ones, or the ones where you definitely don't need any education as long as you kind of know what you're doing and you teach yourself. So the number one here is entrepreneur, actually. Do you know how much the average entrepreneur makes? The average makes roughly 68K plus the value of the business. So if you're an entrepreneur, what this means is that on average you'll get pay yourself a salary or profit margin of 68K, and plus if the value of your business goes up, you can eventually sell that off if your company becomes big enough. So entrepreneur on average 68K plus you get the value of the business. Number two, actually these aren't in order actually, but you know what, we're going to try and order them here. We're going to go web developer. These, you can see these online, like you can hire a web developer on sites like, I don't think you can do them on Fiverr, but you can do them on a lot of freelance sites. And you can just hire one straight up. They just got to have a portfolio of websites. They'll set one up for you. That's it. It's really simple. And so if you teach yourself how to become a web developer, you will make on average 63K, which is pretty good. Now we're going to move on to the third one, which is a sales rep. So it's a very vague job. Sales reps are at tons of companies. Like you can be a sales rep for pharmaceutical companies. You can be a sales rep I was going to apply for one at a telecom company when I was a teenager. So you can actually go up to, in Canada at least, you can go up to major telecommunication companies like Bell. I think Rogers does it too, but I was going to apply to Bell Canada. And you can, become a sales rep and you get commission. That's how you get paid. And as long as you can sell something, you really don't need any sort of education. So sales reps, on average, I was surprised about this, make $60K. Those are the full-time sales reps, make $60,000. Now we are going to move on to a one that I'm familiar with, real estate broker. So there's a big difference between broker and agent. So brokers make about $59K a year on average, and agents make, I think, in the 40s or 30s, it depends. So a real estate broker will make about $59,000 per year. And they are much different than real estate agents, because real estate agents, it's not technically legal for a real estate agent to not work for a broker. If you're an agent, you have to work for a broker or a brokerage. That's just kind of the way it is. So if you're a real estate broker and you're near the top of your own brokerage, you'll make about $60,000 per year. And I was going to write real estate agent, but they just don't make nearly enough money compared to a lot of them on here. They make roughly, about $40,000 a year. It depends on where you live. But yeah, real estate broker, super easy to get into. It just takes a lot of time. If you just do the courses, in Ontario it takes to become a broker, if you do it quickly, about a year and a half, or about a year to a year and a half to become a full broker. To become an agent, it takes, if you do it fast, about 6 months. So it all depends. Now we're going to move on here to the last one here, SMM, which stands for Social Media Marketing Manager. This is something that was actually popularized by, I think, Ty Lopez recently. He launched a program on how to become a social media marketing manager. And I've actually been watching this guy on YouTube called, I think it's The Young Entrepreneur. I think he does this one. I think he's from Toronto too. And I know he does Amazon stuff, but I think that he tried becoming a social media marketing manager, and he did pretty well. He was, I think, I'm not sure. I think he was bringing in, maybe a couple $1,000s a month. And all you have to do is just handle someone else's social media. You literally go door to door, send out, whatever, direct mail, say, hey, I will manage your social media for you. I will try to guarantee this return for this amount of advertising dollars. And and then you pay me whatever, $500 a month, etc. So social media marketing manager, if you're a young person, old people will trust you with that stuff. You don't even need a background. As long as you have a website and you look somewhat professional, people will let you manage their own social media. So these are kind of the jobs that I went through here in the top 400 paying jobs in the United States. These are the ones that stood out here. Now, actually, social media marketing manager wasn't on there. I had to actually look through different statistics to actually find the average income. So this one could be a lot lower, it could be a lot higher. I actually don't really know. But from what I could find, it was $55,000. The rest on here are straight from data collecting websites in the United States. So which one do you think would be best for you out of all of these? I mean, for me, it's obviously real estate broker and I guess potentially sales rep. But for me, it's real estate broker. Which one would you pick if you couldn't go to school and you had to pick one of these jobs? I don't know. I guess entrepreneur. Duh. I love entrepreneur. I am an entrepreneur. Am I an entrepreneur? I'm an entrepreneur. I think so. So, I don't know. I'd probably pick entrepreneur and real estate broker and sales rep. But if you're a good web developer, I know web developers that make 6 figures. I mean, I know that my mom hired someone to do her website many, many years ago and paying the person thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm sure you can make tons of money as a web developer. Now, ideally, you'd like to be a chief executive, like a CEO, a CFO, whatever. But that takes some time, and companies won't generally hire you without an education to be a CEO. You have to work your way up to do that. So, I'm going to wrap that up here. This video is a little bit long. So what do you think of this list? And am I missing anything? What other jobs don't require an education that, on average, make a good salary? Because, to be honest, entrepreneur will obviously have the highest income here, the highest total, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, they're all entrepreneurs. They make the most money. That has the most potential. And then I would say CEO. But a lot of entrepreneurs also fail too. Like a lot of entrepreneurs lose money, which is why the average income is about $68,000. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. You are all very beautiful people. I'll see you guys in the next video.